watching the probate hearing in the missing Skelton brothers case in Michigan. 9-year-old Andrew, 7-year-old Alexander, and 5-year-old Tanner were last seen with their father John around Thanksgiving in 2010. John Skelton told police that he gave the boys to an organization to protect them from their mother, Tanya. Now that mother is asking the state to legally declare the children dead. On the stand is the former police chief, Larry Weeks, and he's talking about the investigation, including going to the house, finding that John had left it in disarray. There was a noose, a Bible. John had broken his ankle in an attempted suicide attempt, according to this police chief. Let's go back in, pick up his testimony.
Unfortunately, we weren't able to develop any leads out of that.
But it's fair to say, as long as you worked in Morenci, you never stopped looking for these children.
That's correct.
Okay. And you never found any sign of life of these 3 children. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Now let's get back to the laptop. Talk about Skelton's internet. When I say Skelton, John Skelton, his internet activity under the exigent circumstances. There was the Joanne Taylor email account. Were there other accounts?
Yeah, there was a Cafe Mom account.
What is Cafe Mom?
It is well, I don't know if it still exists, to be quite honest, but it was a website, like a blog. It was for moms to support one another, coordinate, recipes, play dates, share aspects of child raising, whatever they could do to support moms.
Okay. So you found a Cafe Mom account on there?
Yeah, it appeared that, at least from that laptop, an account was surreptitiously created in an effort to communicate with Tanya by John.
So it appears that John Skelton created his own Cafe Mom account.
Yes, pretending to be someone else.
And he was using that account to talk to Tanya Zuvers?
He was communicating with her through the messaging system.
And when you said surreptitiously, in other words, he didn't tell her it was John?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay. Was there also a Yahoo account?
Yes.
Okay. And now all of these accounts through this this investigation were determined to be from the same IP address. Is that accurate?
That's correct.
Okay. Was there also a search of cellular telephone movement for Friday, November 26th?
There was. Based on the search warrant of John's cellular records, at approximately 4:13 a.m. on the 26th, tower information puts the phone in the vicinity of his home.
Now that's Congress Street?
Yes.
Okay.
At approximately 4:29 a.m., the phone is on the move, appears to be on the move away from the home.
Okay.
At approximately 5 a.m., his phone hits off a tower near Pioneer, Ohio. And then 5:01, 5:04 a.m., the phone hits off the towers again near Lazy River Campground in Ohio, Williams County.
Okay.
And then at 6:46 a.m., the phone appears to be back in the proximity of his home.
Okay. So it's your understanding that through whatever visitation arrangement that Tanya and John had the 3 boys on Thanksgiving and was supposed to deliver them to Tanya at 3 p.m. on the 26th. Is that correct?
Yes, my understanding. I don't recall this moment if that was dictated by court order, but that was certainly the arrangement the 2 of them had.
Okay. And so the time that you're talking about, you just went through 4:13 a.m. on November 26th. So this is time that the 3 children were with John Skelton. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So, and to your knowledge and through your investigation, there was no one else at the house, was
Well,
there?
I guess I would have to back up. It's my understanding the children were with him. At some point, they are no longer with him. I guess I don't know for sure, when that occurs.
Right. But what I'm saying is, that from your investigation, you would agree that that was his visitation time.
Correct.
Correct? And during his visitation time, when Tanya is not there with him, and to your knowledge, no one else is there, correct?
Correct.
He left his home at around 4:30 in the morning, correct?
Correct.
And he came back sometime around 6:45.
Correct.
And during this time, or at least his cell phone did, right?
That's correct.
Because that's what you're tracking is the cell phone.
Well, we did speak to a witness, Christy Schaefer, who indicated that she had gone by John's house about 5 a.m. and had stated that she did not see his van at that location. So we do know his phone is not at the residence and the van is not at the residence at 5 a.m.
Thank you, Chief. And I know that it's 2025 today, but this happened in 2010, right?
That's correct.
And what happens in 2010 on Black Friday?
Well, people
Generally, with stores.
Yeah, people are out shopping.
Okay. So it's not unusual for someone to drive by the house at 5 a.m. on Black Friday.
That's correct.
And it's your understanding that that person just noticed the van wasn't there. Is that correct?
That's my understanding.
And who was that?
Christy Schaefer.
So we know that based on the cell phone, that the cell phone left at 4:30 and did not return and went into Ohio, hit off towers in Ohio, and came back to Congress Street around 6:45, correct?
That's correct.
We also know that a family member drove by the house around 5 o'clock in the morning and the van wasn't there.
Correct.
So it makes sense that the phone and the van were together.
It'd be reasonable to surmise that.
And somebody's probably driving the van, correct?
Correct.
All right, we're going to slip at a commercial break. We'll have more from this probate hearing out of the state of Michigan for the missing Skelton brothers, plus the latest on jury selection in our newest trial. Everything you need to know about the case against Christopher B. Hall right after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back to Court TV Live. I'm Ted Rowlands. Good to be with you. Back we go now to the courtroom. But before we do that, actually a quick programming note out of the state of Iowa. That's our next trial. Jury selection is underway. It's called the Visions of Violence murder trial. The defendant here, a guy by the name of Christopher B. Hall, is accused of killing his girlfriend. Her name is Taylor McKee. And here's Court TV crime and justice correspondent Matt Johnson. He's going to catch us up on the case.
In the wee hours of March 14, 2024, in Park View, Iowa, Christopher B. Hall crashes his Chevy Impala into a light pole. Police find him injured and drunk. Inside the car is a bloody knife and a lot of blood, according to WHBF News. They report at the hospital that B. Hall asked the police for a welfare check on his girlfriend, Taylor McKee Escontrius, saying that he's having, quote, visions of violence. Police go to the home the couple shared and find Taylor's body, along with a bloody bat and screwdriver, and an empty vodka bottle. A detective testified that B. Hall first said that Taylor came at him with a knife, and he defended himself with a bat, later changing his story to say that he attacked her with a bat and then stabbed her in the neck to, quote, put her out of her misery. The detective said that Escontrius was stabbed 31 times. B. Hall, who has prior domestic violence arrests, is facing numerous charges, including first-degree murder. He faces life without parole if convicted.
Okay, that one going on in Iowa. Again, jury selection underway. Opening statements could be as soon as today, depending on how long it takes to pick a jury there. For now, let's head back to Michigan. We're watching this probate court hearing in the case of the missing Skelton brothers. Andrew, Alexander, and Tanner Skelton went missing after Thanksgiving back in 2010. Their mother, Tanya Zuvers, is asking the state to declare them legally dead. So this is a probate hearing, but kind of sounds like almost like a preliminary hearing against the dad, trying to establish that he is responsible for these kids' death. What is the overarching goal here? It's kind of unclear. Dad is serving time. He is set to be released in November of this year. Is this all related to a possible criminal prosecution? We don't know. He is not a defendant in this case. He's just the dad. In fact, he's waived his right to be there as they present this evidence to the judge. Let's go back in. The former police chief who investigated this case, Larry Weeks, is on the stand.
Okay, I know this was a very large investigation, Chief, and I know that it's my understanding that when there are large investigations, many agencies working together, you have briefings. Is that correct?
That's correct.
You have meetings with all the agencies and put a plan together?
We met regularly. The dynamics changed, so we often had impromptu discussions about what the next steps were.
But part of that is so that you're all not doing the same thing, right?
Correct.
And you want to use your resources as much as you can to investigate. Is that fair to say?
That's correct.
Okay. And did you learn of an interview with John Skelton at Toledo St. Vincent's Hospital?
Yeah, we had learned that John had been transferred from Fulton County to St. Vincent's in Toledo. He'd been acting erratically, so they transferred him up there for further observation. We met as a team, made some decisions about what the next steps were, and ultimately determined Detective Sergeant Ed Price and Special Agent Mike Glennon would be sent to the hospital to potentially interview him and see if we could.
What did you learn from that?
During their conversations with John, he shared that he believed that the boys had been wrapped in a blanket and then placed at a old schoolhouse near Kunkel, Ohio. And at this stage of our investigation, we had a plethora of law enforcement in the area and at the police department, which was our command post. And so we dispatched personnel and myself down to two different schoolhouses near Kunkel, Ohio. One was I don't know if it was an old elementary school, but it had been converted into residential living, and another was more of a historic one-room style. I don't know if it was one room, but one-room style schoolhouse. And we checked those areas pretty thoroughly and weren't able to find the boys.
Now let me back up just one. I want to make sure I understand. John Skelton told the team that the boys were wrapped in blankets and placed in an old schoolhouse in Kunkel, Ohio. Is that what you said?
Correct.
Okay. And so then a team was dispatched to search any schoolhouse in Kunkel, Ohio. Is that what you're saying?
Well, he said an old schoolhouse, so we identified those two locations as being really the only old two schoolhouses, and we checked them.
And what'd you find?
Nothing.
Okay. What else did they learn? Did he describe a nightmare?
Well, after our initial findings, or negative findings, came back from our searches, they went back in and spoke with him again. During this time, John described having a nightmare, and within this nightmare, he describes what he thinks is Joanne Taylor, but he's unsure if it was possibly himself. And he explains that he is, I believe, is it 95% sure that the boys were in a dumpster near Holiday City, Ohio. he urges the interviewers to respond and get his boys. He refers to himself being perceived as a monster. He's concerned, he expresses concern about being perceived as a child killer during the course of this interview.
And this is also when he says that he may be Joanne Taylor.
Yes, he was unsure, as he described.
And is it true that he also drew a picture of the location and the dumpster?
He did.
Was that investigated?
Yeah, we certainly had folks in that area already, so agents went and responded to that area, checked the dumpsters, and it discovered that the dumpsters have already been dumped. Follow-up with Waste Management Company discovered that the trucks that picked up the dumpster and the dumpsters in the area went to Waste Management of Ohio, and communication with those folks, they keep track of where trucks dump things in the waste area, in the dump site, and were able to point us in a direction. The FBI's evidence recovery team sent several people out to the location and performed a search of the area that we were told that truck dumped its load.
Okay.
And unfortunately, we're not able to locate anything.
All right, we'll need a break, but first, Sam Bassett, what is your take here on the overall? We talked about it a little bit ago. The motivation here. The more this goes on, the more it seems almost like a preliminary hearing against John Skelton, where they're really zoning in on his behavior, the crazy things that he said and did during this critical time when the boys were missing, and he had them as part of the custody arrangement with his wife.
The thing that strikes me is the people that are assisting this investigator, the FBI and the John Walsh organization, are very sophisticated investigators. We don't know where they are in their investigation. And this hearing may be an opportunity for them to exploit new information or put more pressure on the suspect. That's one thing that strikes me, is these are not amateurs that are investigating this. This is the highest level of law enforcement that has investigated this case for many years. So we don't know where they are at this time. This hearing, to establish, at least in a civil manner, their death, could be the precursor also to a wrongful death lawsuit, which could also generate more information to assist law enforcement. As we know, there's no statute of limitations on a murder charge.
Yeah, and he's incarcerated, at least until November of this year. They have time. And to your point, during these years, this investigation has been going on, and I'm sure part of it was a hope that the kids would turn up their remains, or, if by some miracle they themselves were still alive. That hasn't happened. He gets out. I wonder if the next plan is to then pursue him possibly criminally, because boy, there sure seems to be a lot there, even without the bodies.